The HOA walked onto my property like they ruled the lake until one forgotten document blew their whole kingdom apart. Let me tell you, if you've never had someone threaten to seize your family's legacy over a few boards of cedar and a cup of black coffee, you're missing out on a special kind of morning. You ever get that feeling, standing there in your own yard, that the ground beneath you is about to shift? That's how it started for me. But let me back up. I'm Evan. My whole life's been wrapped up in this patch of Montana-Mallister Lake, to be exact. Most mornings, you find me barefoot on the dock my father and I built, breathing in that air so sharp it could cut your lungs clean open. That dock wasn't just wooden bolts. It was a promise. Something about keeping the lake honest, keeping it in the family. My old man's words. Sometimes I think I hear him in the loons when they call across the water. That morning started like any other fog on the lake, quiet enough to hear my coffee cooling. Then, just as I'm starting to think peace is a real thing, here comes the sharp sound of high heels on cedar, slicing through the quiet like a chainsaw through soft pine. Out of the mist, Denise Harland. Rose-colored blazer, lips pressed thin enough to slice paper, attitude that said she'd rather be anywhere but here, but by God, she was going to win. Didn't even greet me. Just shoved a violation notice right into my chest, hard enough to slosh coffee onto my shirt. Structure unauthorized, she said, all clipped and official. You have 48 hours to remove this dock, or the HOA will pursue property seizure. I swear for a second I almost laughed. Then I saw the red letters stamped across the top. Scare tactics, the kind that work on folks who don't know any better. But the thing is, I did. I'd built the dock, filed every permit, passed every inspection. That's irrelevant, she cut in, as if I was a child who hadn't done his homework. The HOA controls all lake structures. Our rules, our view. Right there, where do people get this idea? Like rules give you a deed to the whole world. I asked her as polite as I could muster. Since when does the HOA own the water? She flicked her hand at the dock like she was brushing dirt off her skirt. Since we decided we need consistency around here. This is an eyesore, and it goes. She turned, left me standing with the violation notice crumpling in my fist, the fog swallowing her up. It felt like even the lake was waiting, holding its breath. I like to say I was calm, that I took the high road right away. Truth is, anger has a taste. It sits at the back of your tongue, bitter as overbrewed coffee. By midday, I'm out tightening bolts, trying to keep my hands busy, when I see the HOA SUV pull up, big white thing, logo on the side like they're the feds. Denise again, and her trusty sidekick Miles Riek, the HOA's contractor of choice. He strutted down to the dock like he owned the planks under his boots. We're here for a provisional compliance inspection, Denise declared, and Miles starts poking and measuring and muttering. 3 inches over standard edge tolerance, he said, as if quoting Holy Scripture. Your load-bearing alignment ratio is off, too. I asked, is that even a real thing? He ignored me. Denise scribbled on her clipboard, the ink loud as thunder. Your dock is now a non-compliant structure. Effective immediately. I kept my face still. County approved this dock every last nail. That may be, she said, but county permits don't override HOA standards. She waved toward the row of identical plastic docks, all built by you, guessed it, Miles. Consistency protects property values. There it was, the real sermon. What's the problem, I asked. Well, for starters, it's wood, Miles said. It's a lake, I replied. Docks are wood. He shrugged. Wap FIFA compodi. Sure, they dozier for him. More money for them. I didn't get angry, not yet. But as Denise rattled offline items and visual harmony complaints, something cold started to form in my gut. They didn't care about the dock. They cared about control, about putting someone in their place. My place. When they left, I went digging old stories, old agreements. My dad had talked about water rights, county deals that predated the HOA. I needed proof. The next morning, before the frost had even melted, I found HOA flyers scattered across my porch. Unsafe dock, threatening the lakefront lifestyle. A grainy photo of my handiwork, twisted to look like a death trap. Hotline number at the bottom. My number 1 digit off coincidence, I'm sure. Grant, my neighbor, saw me reading one. Saw him posting those. Denise's cronies. Didn't look like morning joggers. He squinted at the flyer. That dock's safer than any plastic on the lake. If it's unsafe, I'm a ballerina. We both knew that wasn't likely. Then he asked about the old agreements. Dig deeper, he said. This HOA didn't always run things. That was the nudge I needed. I checked the dock again, running my hands along the rail, and there was a fresh split in the wood near the ladder. Not natural. Someone had tried to weaken the joint. Sabotage. I kept my mouth shut, installed some cameras, and waited. That night, 2 figures 1 built like Miles slipped down to the dock, snapped photos, poked around, left. The next morning, the lake seemed to whisper, "Don't let this go." I took my father's old folder, packed with yellowed property maps and scribbled notes, and drove into Garnet Ridge. The county records building smelled of old paper and cold air. Dolores, the clerk, took one look at the folder and knew what I was after. This about the HOA trouble? I nodded. They're claiming the water. I'm not so sure they can. She led me to the back, opened a drawer labeled Crest Creek, Dam Early, 1900s. Inside, schematics, ledgers, a map drawn in dark ink. There, underlined twice, perpetual water management rights assigned to E. Mal Lister, 1924. My grandfather's initials. Turns out, when they built the original dam, my grandfather funded half of it, engineered the overflow gates, got water management rights written into county law. Any new development had to get written approval from Heimer, his heirs. Meaning me. Dolores smiled. Counties don't hand out perpetual rights for nothing. If the HOA didn't get your signature, they got nothing. She handed me copies, stamped and certified. I left with a folder heavier than it should have been. The sky was turning steel gray. Storm on the way felt right. Back home, more HOA flyers. Dramatic orange ink this time. I ignored them, walked straight to the dock, knelt on the planks, pressed my palm against the wood. My father used to say you could feel the truth in a thing if you touched it long enough. A crowd started to gather. Some uneasy, some outright hostile. Denise arrived in her silver SUV, Miles in tow, looking like they were about to launch an invasion. "We've called an emergency HOA meeting," Denise announced. "Your unauthorized structure is a hazard." "You mean the complaints you stirred up?" I asked. No answer. I waited until they were done, then pulled out my Ace the Water Rights deed. I didn't show it just yet. Timing matters. Let them put every false charge in writing. Let them believe they've won. That night, at the meeting, rain pounding the roof, Denise made her pitch. The dock is dangerous. We must escalate enforcement. The projector showed an edited photo of my dock. Shadows deepened to look rotten. When it was my turn, I spoke quiet but clear. This isn't about safety. It's about who holds authority. I opened the folder, slid the deed across the podium. My family holds perpetual water management rights for Malister Lake, granted before this HOA even existed. The room went silent except for thunder outside. Denise tried to laugh it off. "Those papers are outdated. Irrelevant." Sheriff Wes Calhoun stepped in. "I've seen the documents. They're legit. The HOA has no say over water rights. Not one drop." Clara, my attorney, stepped up too, outlined everything. The fines, the threats, all of it illegal. The board started to crack. Some wanted to pause enforcement. Denise, though, just burned hotter, clinging to the podium like it might save her. But that was it. The kingdom crumbled. When Wes announced that the county was launching an investigation fraud, unauthorized fees, tampering with water levels, Denise turned white as the mountain snow. Miles lost his contractor's license. The HOA got a cease and desist, all water regulations voided. By the next week, Denise was gone, forced out. Some folks tried to apologize. Some just nodded from a distance, grateful but awkward. The lake didn't care. It just kept being a lake. I rebuilt the dock, better than before, stronger, smoother, every board sanded by hand. Sheriff West dropped off fresh coffee and a congratulation. Clara brought me a foundation charter. Ways to protect the lake for everyone, not just for Malister, but for the next person who tries to stand up for what's right. The plaque on my new bench says, "For those who respect the water, who remember the past, who choose stewardship over control." It's not fancy, but it's true. If you've never fought someone for the right to stand on your own ground, I hope you never have to. But if you do, remember, power isn't about control. It's about knowing the land, protecting it, even when others forget. So, let me ask you, where's the line? At what point does defending what's right turn you into the bad guy and is someone else's story? Have you ever had to stand your ground against someone who just wouldn't quit? Drop your story in the comments, sir. Just type justice if you've been there too. I want to hear it. After all, this lake may be mine to care for, but these stories, they belong to all of us.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.